It's Nina Lemtier here, the nutrition lifestyle strategist. How are you today? We're super excited to be running session 8 of unveiling the unseen struggles of women with womb conditions and fibroids in particular, because that's what I struggled the most with. So I'm just waiting for Alero to come and join us. And whilst we're getting her on, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Nina Lemtier, and I'm a nutrition lifestyle strategist. I've been helping women for 10 plus years. In the beginning, it was more of just kind of sharing information, and what I was finding was that I was meeting very busy women, very stressed women that just needed me to help them figure things out. And I had to figure out things myself in regards to my fibroid journey, and not really accepting what my consultants had told me some years ago. So I was struggling with fibroids. I was struggling with a lot of things, actually. Just going to invite Alero on now. I was struggling with my weight. I was struggling with everything, in all honesty. And it really manifested. Okay, nobody's saying anything. I'm not sure. Can anyone see both of us on this video? Could you comment, please? Right. Let me invite. I will.
It went off. What happened?
Yeah, I just had to invite you on again. Okay,
it's still the same.
Andrea can see us, both of us.
Okay. I can't see you. I feel weird.
Right. Oh gosh, I don't know why. I can see you though, and Andrea can see us. So
the top of the screen is black.
Okay. Should we just continue?
Yeah, let's just carry on.
Yeah, because I can see you and Andrea can see us, so we'll just crack on. Okay, so yeah, I'll just quickly finish, my kind of journey. And I had a very, very traumatic experience in regards to the myomectomy, and I had to advocate for myself, to request for the consultants to not take out all the fibroids, just take out the largest ones and leave the rest of them, so that I can keep my uterus, because they were hinting that I would have to have a hysterectomy. It was a high chance that they'd take out my womb. I got out of there, thankfully, by the grace of God, with my uterus, and everything had to change. And it's just been 10 plus years of re-educating myself, becoming more aware of, aspects of how I live, lifestyle, diet, and that's how I got into this space. And I'm a firm believer of what we can do as Black women, and obviously all women are welcome here, but I'm speaking because I'm a Black woman, and just kind of referring to that, and because we're predisposed to the condition and other womb conditions, and we appear to be not getting the same care. This is the reason why we really have to do more to support ourselves and each other. So this is what this is about. I'll let Alero share a bit about who she is and why she's here.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Nina, for having me again. I can't believe this is the 8th session of coming together for this. I got into this space due to also my journey and my health experiences, which kicked off with me, having debilitating period pains from when I was 13. And as you know, every time they say it's just normal, it's period. Your period is painful, So I just tried to manage it as the years went by. And eventually I had ovarian cysts and then fibroids. I had my first surgery in 2004, and I got a bit better, and I had a few years of no pain, which was exciting. And I think about 3 4 years later, it came back full force, and I was told again in 2008, okay, you need to have another surgery for fibroids. And I was like, nah, I'm not getting cut open again, because I did have a open myomectomy for my first surgery. Um, and after that, it got worse. My periods got worse. My health got worse. I was barely coping. And a few years down the line again, I was diagnosed with adenomyosis and endometriosis. And yeah, um, while I was struggling with my health, with the pain, I met with Nina. I met Nina. I think that was just before or during lockdown, 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
And we just kept listening to what she was talking about. And yeah, I reached out to her, and she put me through. And, I changed my diet. I started taking, you know, supplements to support me. And yeah, my fibers stopped growing after that. I must confess that I was so excited about it. And at that point, or at that time, I didn't even know. I know I started getting more energy. I was saying to her, you know what, I feel better, I feel stronger, but when the period comes, it's so bad. And the bleeding was so heavy. And then I noticed that it was, getting worse. And eventually I was diagnosed with adenomyosis and endo. So with the fibroids, I knew that my lifestyle had helped it a lot, and I wasn't having troubles anymore when it came to my fibroids, because they stopped growing. They were so tiny. There was nothing to worry about, even though there was loads of them, but they were not growing. So it was the adenomyosis and endometriosis that was the trigger. That was the problem I was having. And I think because it was over 30, over 3 decades, over 30 years of going through surgeries, going in and out of hospital, I was just fed up. And when the endo affected my bowel, I just said, you know what, I don't want to end up with a stomach bag, as they're saying. I'm just going to have the surgery. It wasn't a decision of 24 hours. It took me over a year to decide this. And I decided to have 4 of my organs taken out because they were all damaged. Um, and yeah, here we are today. And while I was going through all of that, I decided, you know what, to share my student experiences. As I learned every day, you learn, and along the way, you learn new things. And I decided, you know what, other women need to know this. They need to know that, what you eat, what you feed your body, what you support yourself with affects your period, your menstrual period. And I began talking about myself from 2017, and sharing other women's stories, not just about their periods, but just about life in general, how they're going through it and how they're surviving. And um, when I found out I had adenomyosis and endometriosis, and I learned more about it, that's when I became even more vocal. And I didn't even know all I was doing back then was advocacy, to be honest. And then I kicked off, talking more about everything I was going through. And yeah, here we are today. Glad that we're able to help and support other women going through the same conditions, and trying to find a way to reach for them to get better and more healthy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And you are a symbol of hope and, perseverance, and the fact that you can be so open about how you overcame and also took decisions, and how you empowered yourself, advocated for yourself. It's just life changing, literally, for so many women. So thank you.
Thank you.
So what we'll do is we'll be taking questions on this session. So if you've
Yeah.
got any questions, um, any concerns, or anything you want maybe a different perspective on, feel free to comment, and yeah, use the comment section. What I wanted to really highlight today is a concerning kind of concept of the kind of the black woman, the strong black woman syndrome, and how we take on this concept, whether knowingly or unknowingly, and the impact that has on our health, the impact that has on, our kind of younger generation, whether we've got children or nieces, because the reality is a lot of us are really just carrying on with these debilitating symptoms, and we're only doing something when they get really,
Really
really
bad.
bad, like passing out, being hospitalized. And it's like, why not take action much sooner? Why are we not being supported to? Like, why are we not realizing that there's a problem, that it's not normal, and it would just be interesting to know if anyone has experienced, maybe being made to feel that what they're going through is normal, if they have gone through anything. But I must say that we have to challenge this narrative head on, and really just ask for help, and understand that we deserve that help. We shouldn't just carry on through pain, heavy blood loss, infertility, all these different things, as if it's just part of our genetics, and yeah, we just have to accept that. So that's something that I wanted to highlight today. Um, is there anything you wanted to share,
To add
Alera,
to
or
that,
add to that? Yeah.
well, yeah, I think especially as Black women, we have been, how will I put it? We've been made to feel like we are strong, so we can cope with any kind of pain. Um, so when you complain that you're in pain, they feel like you're being lazy, or you're just looking for, attention. Um, but we're humans, and we can feel pain. Also, as Black women, especially with our faith, our religion, it affects women a lot when it comes to their menstrual health, because they feel there's this way they say, oh, you pray about it, you don't have enough faith, you should not be saying you're still in pain. So a lot of women are going through pain and
Mm,
praying about the pain rather than seeking medical advice.
mm,
And you find that so many of them wait so long until it's almost, or should I say, too late.
mm,
Um, as somebody who grew up with a church background, I know for certain, I was told back then also to pray, you need to pray, you need to keep the faith, you need to be strong. But
mm,
I know the pain I'm passing through. And I don't think God has created doctors or given them the wisdom if it wasn't necessary. So I'd say we need to be more vocal, especially in the church. I don't know anywhere, any religious set area. Let the women speak up when they're in pain. Don't make them silent. Don't make them suffer in pain. They should be
mm.
educated about their menstrual health. They should know that, their well-being is what's important, and they should seek medical advice if they're going through pain, because you're not supposed to go through pain for days or weeks and you're bleeding and you say it's normal. It's not normal.
Mm. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting that you've touched on the kind of spiritual aspect of how, a woman might approach their well-being, and what they would consider doing. And of course, praying about it is not a bad thing to
No,
do,
it's
obviously.
not.
But also you have to look at how long has this been going on
Mm,
for, you know, what about the pain, really just being practical, isn't it,
yeah,
about actually what's happening and the impacts of that, practically in regards to their life, and getting medical intervention and advice alongside praying, because we're not saying don't pray,
yeah.
or
I'm not saying don't pray. Don't get me wrong. I pray. I pray a lot. So, but what I'm saying is, when you're praying and you're asking God for your healing, if you see that your situation or your condition is not getting any better, or you're getting worse, or it's, that you're seeing the changes happening, as the months go by, as the years go by, then you have to seek medical advice. When you're praying about something, you need to know why that thing is happening. You need to know the root of the problem so that you can actually, take it from there. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And it doesn't help that kind of medical professionals advise you based on how, if there is a pain or if there isn't, and see how you go. If it gets like this, and then come back. So it's almost like you're being, I don't know, you're being forced to wait till it gets bad as
Yeah.
well. Like that's the guidelines. Do you
Yeah.
think that's what's happening as well?
Mm.
That you're kind of encouraged, we're not going to refer you now. Let's
Just
wait
watch it.
till
Let's watch. Yeah. It's
till
literally like they're saying you can cope, you can handle this, you know.
yeah, yeah. It will be interesting to know if anybody's had. Okay, Andy has said, I agree with what you are saying. My friend is a critical care consultant, and she admits 80% of patients who have fatal brain aneurysm are Black women. We are
Wow.
taught to hold in until it becomes fatal. My gosh. My God.
80%.
Wow.
That is a
That
lot.
that is very
That
concerning. 80% of
80%.
patients. That is so. This is what I'm talking about.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. This is what I'm talking about. It's actually really, really unprecedented what's going on, and I don't think we really understand the true magnitude of how we are being conditioned,
Yeah.
essentially, to respond not only to our health, but how we interact
Yeah.
with medical
Practitioners.
professionals and
Mm.
practitioners. Yeah, we're being conditioned, and it's really scary that is the statistic. It's scary. Yeah,
Yes, to be honest, because if you get fed up of going back and forth, you're just gonna stay home, isn't it?
yeah,
Just gonna
yeah,
stay home.
yeah. So
It's the
is there is the problem with how we are viewed medically. The problem is we it's something that has existed before we are here, if that makes sense. It's like an undertone perception
mm,
that we are strong
stronger.
and
Mm.
we just can take more pain, we can just put up with more. Like, so when you are having to communicate with your doctor, with a consultant, you just have to be a bit more forceful, I think, and just be a bit more, hold them more accountable, and not just be brushed to the side to kind of wait till you're in agony, and that's the issue. So I feel like it's not just medically, it's just how we're perceived
Mm.
in general. What do you think, Alera?
Yeah, it is. It is because I've seen a video where a doctor was talking somewhere in America. I think they were running some tests, and he did mention that Black people are stronger. And I was thinking, where did that come from?
Mm,
You know, they feel we can tolerate pain better than other people. So, yeah,
yeah.
it's sad that it's seen that way, and we have accepted it. We have accepted it that we're strong. I mean, we say it boldly. We say, "Oh, I'm a strong woman. I'm a strong girl. we say it. We're strong."
Mm,
Yes, I'm not saying we're not, but at the same time, we mustn't force the body to cope with pain that we shouldn't be coping with. We
yeah.
mustn't force our body to go through all that process when you can get a solution earlier.
Yeah.
You don't wait until
Yeah.
your body is got or your body has gotten to the point where it is shattered, it's broken, I can't carry on again.
Mm, yeah.
Because that's what happens in the end. You can't manage it. And that's what I did to myself when I couldn't manage it anymore. I couldn't cope with it. That's when I go to the hospital. Like I say to myself, I can't do this anymore. And
Mm,
I know when I've got to that breaking point, it's time to go to A&E. And I try to manage it. I try to do everything I should do because I feel, oh, if I lay down more than an hour, I feel, oh God, I'm losing out on things I should do. I'm being lazy. So I pull myself and I drag myself, do what I have to do. If I have to clean it, if I have to do my laundry, I just do everything, like follow the normal procedure. Even
Mm.
though I'm in pain, I'm in tears, I'm doing all of that. And that's how we've been built, we've trained our mind or built our mind to work or function that way. And it's not right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely one that I think we just have to look at practically, okay, what can we do day to day,
Mm,
and just be so much more kinder. And yes, you know, we can be strong, but it can't be to the detriment of our health, you
help.
know. um and it's also who's watching you, because I've watched my mum do exactly what we're talking about. Like, she never went to the doctor. She was just always
Yeah.
working. I never saw her.
Mm,
She was being strong.
mm,
And that is what I learned, you know, to kind of, so I had to recondition myself and change everything, and just start putting myself first, you know,
yeah.
in the last 10 years. And obviously it gets more challenging if you do become a mum and you have other roles, maybe a wife, all these different things, and
Yeah.
you lose, you can lose a sense of who you are and not put yourself first, you know, and it
Mm,
can be to the detriment of your health. So it's just looking at how you can practically be proactive in regards to your health, you know, your nutrition, your diet, your even your love life, you know, because our relationships play a big role
big role.
in how
That's right.
we behave, and you know how our health also, what our health looks like. If we've got good healthy relationships, that will show in our
That's
health. If we've got draining relationships, if we're in relationships that we're not meant to be in, or you know, this is going to impact us.
very, very
It
true.
really will. And I know that I can hold my hand up
Mm,
to that. It's really, really, it takes a toll internally. Yeah. So you just have to reevaluate um, your life.
mm,
And if there's anyone on here that maybe has had an experience that they felt in regards to maybe emotional experiences, relationships that have really impacted how they've treated themselves, and the steps they've taken in regards to their womb health or their overall wellness, feel free to maybe share that, or if you agree, comment yes, so we know that we're not the only ones, or I'm not the only one.
definitely.
um, but today's session, for those of you that have just joined, we are just really talking around the concept of the strong black woman syndrome and the impacts and the implications of that in our health and our womb health, and our lives essentially.
Yeah. And just like I was telling you about the two ladies I was
Yeah.
working with during the week, um, it's also the same thing. And, you know, even though they were trying to find out what to do, um, what's wrong, because I think someone told them to link them up with me. And yeah, they just said they're carrying on going to school, you know, doing everything they want to do, but they're in so much pain. And they just feel like, you know, they just need to be heard or listened to. It wasn't like they were actually complaining, if you get what I mean. But I
Mm.
said to them, you shouldn't, you know, you shouldn't feel like it's okay. It's not okay. You know, they just wanted to know, oh, should I take this medication? Should I take that medication? They weren't even looking for a solution per se. They weren't thinking about, oh, do I have fibroids or do I not have fibroids? And when one of them had the test done, was seen that she had one had fibroids, a lot of big fibroids, and the other one had ovarian cyst and fibroids. And I said, you need to go to a doctor, not to a nurse, not to, because this is back in Africa. And I said,
Mm.
you don't need to go to like nurse or go to the clinic. You need to go to not just any doctor. You need to go to a gynecologist, and you need
Mm.
to give them the results so that you can get, you know, seen and everything. And you know, for them, they felt it wasn't serious. It's just my period. You know, I'm okay. I'm coping. you don't have to cope, you don't have to manage. Mm.
Yeah.
So it's really, it does, it was, for me, it was just really heavy for me because I just felt this was what I was doing back when I was younger,
Mm,
but I didn't know any better really. But yeah, we we just need to change the narrative to say that's how it should be, and we should cope with it, get
yeah.
along with it, carry on with it. We just need to change that narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually take steps, practical steps, start to track exactly what's going on, assess and get guidance on that.
Mm-hmm.
Get guidance on that. So we are taking questions. If you do have any questions, thank you, Ivy. Ivy
Hello, EVA.
EVA,
Thank
sorry.
you for joining. Yes, okay. She gets called Ivy as well, so.
Okay. So yeah, we are taking questions. I did have a couple of what was on my TikTok, a
Yeah,
few questions about
okay.
supplements. And I think the focus shouldn't be first on supplements. Your focus should be on your diet, and then what you do is you get the medical guidance first, assess your diet, see how you can optimize your diet, where the gray areas are, and then you strategically supplement where you've identified, you need to supplement, you need to support these key areas. So that's the way round. It shouldn't be it should not be not diet focused, because it doesn't, it doesn't work like that. You won't get the maximum benefits from the supplements if your diet is poor, or if you're consuming things that don't work with your system, etc. So that should always be the kind of the order of assessing everything. Andy is asking, I downloaded an app on my phone called B Zone. This was recommended for us in my workplace, and I really like it for de-stressing. Oh,
So,
fabulous. Okay. B Zone.
is that like relax for relaxation?
Yeah, it's a de-stress app. So just curious, Andia, what activity do you like that you complete on the app? Is it in the form of a video? Is it a game? Is it
Or
how?
just listening to someone talking?
Yeah, I'll be curious to know.
Mm.
Thank you for sharing that. And it's just these little plugins, isn't it, that whatever works for you, whether it's an app that you might combine with an activity that you're
Mm.
doing, but it's just finding that thing that you can integrate into your daily routine, you know.
Oh,
She said,
okay.
yes, it's mental health. That's great. That's really good. That's so good. Yeah, like never underestimate the power of just the kind of just stepping back,
Mm.
and detaching. And I often see this concept of a social media diet, like where you just come off social media,
Mm.
um, which is not a bad concept. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but personally, I think if you can identify how you're using it, that's causing you to need to take,
Time
to
out.
need to delete the app from your
Mm.
phone. I think that's more important than just deleting the apps. Personally, that's what I think, because I think you can use social media in a healthy way,
Yeah.
that you don't need to feel like you need a detox, if that makes sense, from social media. But yeah, and you're saying there are various things in it, but I like the meditation part the most. That sounds good. I
That's
love
true. You're
meditation.
getting
Yeah,
really distressed.
I'm the same. Thank you for sharing.
Sherry Licious? Love.
Share this is love. Do you want to read that?
I am in a healthy relationship where I feel safe and pain is less. Diet has changed only slightly.
That's great.
So
That's so great.
you're taking the right steps. Yeah.
Yeah. So the diet has changed only
And
slightly.
yeah, changing the diet is not, it's not easy. I mean, Nina has just given me my diet to follow, and my goodness, I feel like I'm starving. So trust me, I know it takes baby steps, baby steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those baby steps, again, don't underestimate them, because it's a process. You know, everything should be a process, and it's just about which direction are you moving in. Are you moving in that direction? And that's the main
Yeah.
thing with any lifestyle adjustment and change. It's just
Mm,
you're going in a better direction. Your body starts to respond, and you just keep going.
yeah.
You know, never give up. It's not a perfect route. Yeah. So thanks for sharing, Sherrilicious love.
Thank
And I'm so excited for you that you're in a healthy relationship, that you feel safe. That's so
you.
good. So good.
She said, yes, I've almost finished your book. Oh,
Oh,
I
thank
would
you. Oh, that,
like more support with the diet after. Okay.
just reach out to me and
When
I
you're
will
ready.
do that.
Mm,
Thanks so much for reading it. I'm so glad you've got value, and gosh, that makes me so happy. I'm so pleased. Thank you. And it makes such a difference on your health when you're in a safe, healthy
relationship.
relationship. Yeah,
I mean, you've got support, got a good support system there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We all deserve that. And the first relationship is with yourself, and
Mm,
that's the biggest step for me. That's the biggest step. Just learning to accept and love who you are, and enjoying time with you, and just harnessing that is a
mm,
huge one. So if anybody is still kind of figuring that out, you can never you can't give up on it.
mm.
It's ongoing, and it's the most important one. It's the most important relationship, the one with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it impacts every decision we make, not only for ourselves, but our relationships
Mm.
with other
And
people.
everyone around us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Great.
Yeah. Can I just ask a quick question for those of you online? When it comes to your menstrual health, which is a combination of your periods, your mental health, your well-being, and everything, what would you say you do, and what would you say you don't do that you've noticed affects your periods when they come?
That's a good question. Mm.
What are the things that trigger your periods to be worse, and what are the things that you've noticed that when you don't do those things, your period feels better? If you can just type that on there. Um, I'm curious to know, because sometimes we don't realize that we're doing things that are making us feel better. And yeah, so this is where journaling also comes into play, because uh, all the things I'm talking about now, I've learned a lot of them from Nina anyways. So, writing the things you're eating, the things that you feel are, if you ate something, let me say uh, you had fish and chips this month. You ate fish and chips, and then you notice that, oh, this month I felt a bit naff, um, because for me, when I have food that's got too much oil in it, oh my God, I feel sick. And I've realized that means I'm feeding my body with what it doesn't want. So I don't go that way. Um, yeah. And when I'm drinking, I never used to like drinking water. And yeah, I drink loads of water now. I need to actually control myself to stop drinking the water, because I just want to drink and drink. I noticed that also helped with my period, and yeah, with the
Yeah,
flow. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And we'll wait for those comments. For
Yeah.
me,
Hopefully you're gonna type something, ladies.
yeah, for me, I notice whatever I plan out in my journal, in my planner,
Yeah.
and when I follow it for the month, I see a huge impact, not only in my periods, but just my energy, how I feel mentally. It's, yeah, just honoring your word, the words you say to yourself. It's such a simple concept, but my gosh, when you start following through on the words and the commitments you make, that is another level of
Yeah.
of pain relief, and just excitement in your body, all the feel-good hormones.
Mm.
Jacqueline, I missed 2 months and felt I was dehydrated. And although my diet is good, I started drinking water and coconut water, and my period returned. Ah, interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting. And that's in that I'm happy you mentioned that, Jacqueline, because
Mm.
often I speak with women that talk about kind of missing their periods and they're really stressed and they're wondering what's going on. And just by addressing the diet, maybe relaxing more, look, you've made
Mm.
a few tweaks in your period
Yeah.
return. And it often is just such a delicate balance with your hormones, and just by supporting them,
Mm.
adjusting the diet, your body just feels more in sync, and it allows for that process to happen. Because when your body is feeling compromised, particularly your kind of nervous system, what your body will do is just go into fight or flight mode,
Mm.
which is a bit like if you were on an island somewhere and there was no food. um, and obviously you might not be eating as well, so your body will start to limit processes like your menstrual cycle. It won't allow it to happen because it needs to go into protective mode and
Protective hormone.
kind of reserve energy. So it's kind of a protective mechanism that kicks in, and it's often a response to stimuli. So yeah, it's a good point that you've mentioned,
Mm.
Jacqueline. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Is there
And
another question?
did you
I
want
can't
to?
really see them. I
You,
can't really see it. I don't know. It's gone really wide. Okay, let me
oh,
try to pull it down. Okay. Yeah. So, Lady Almi.
that's Andia.
Oh,
Yeah.
Andia. Yeah. Hi, Andia. Thank you for always coming online. I love it. Yeah, she says, when I eat a lot of spicy food on day one of my period, I feel more bloated. I can have spice any other day and I'm fine. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you know that when your period kicks in, you don't have to eat anything spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. That's a great. That's a really key part to acknowledge and be aware of.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing
Thanks
that.
for sharing that. Yeah.
Uh,
You want to read the last one?
Sherylicious love, carbs and sugar make pain much worse. Yep, I agree with that. If I
Mm.
cut
Read it.
if I cut it, pain
Yeah.
is, yeah, yeah, that's one
Mm.
thing for me, because I used to take ridiculous amounts of carbs and sugar
Mm.
for many years, and yeah, it caused a lot of havoc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when it's close to your period, you have that craving, don't you, for sugar, for sweet things. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And the way to manage that is to just up your calorie intake of, healthy sources, of course, and
Mm.
that you help to offset the need. So your body is getting more energy, which is what it needs, obviously, for this stage of your cycle. So if you
Mm.
up your calorie intake of about maybe by 200 to 300 calories, up protein, you'll take off the edge of that sugar craving per
Craving.
se. It won't be as profound without the increase in your calories. So definitely track and just be prepared. If you do that, you should notice that the sugar craving
So
reduces.
so what you're saying is when it's close to having your period,
Yeah,
increase your calorie intake.
yeah,
Okay.
increase it. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and reevaluate if you're regularly exercising, depending on what you're doing, you would want to change the formation. So do more kind of Pilates, less intensity, don't do any HIIT workouts and things like that. Anything that will be a bit too demanding is the way to approach that week before
Okay.
the period and the week. Yeah.
So the reason
You're welcome.
I asked that question, ladies, was because I know I struggled with this same thing. Is because a lot of times we actually know why the pain's gotten worse sometimes. We actually know we've eaten something that doesn't suit our body.
Mm,
And even though we know, it's like, especially if you're African, you're Nigerian, we know that spice triggers inflammation during our periods. We'll still eat spicy food and then curl over in pain. Um, a lot of times, or should I say sometimes, we need to actually acknowledge we're also part of the reason we're having those inflammation. We're the
mm,
reason we're doing it to ourselves. We need to now take, stand firm and say, you know what, I need to stop this because we're doing this to ourselves. We're eating things we know we shouldn't eat
yeah,
and putting
yeah,
our body through that trauma. It's not, we have to take that as something to say, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to, because everything what you put in there is what's going to, that's what your body's going to respond to. So we
yeah,
need to learn to say, this is what's happening. Like everything you've mentioned here, get a journal, start writing them down, and, you dissect every month to find out what is it you eat that affects you, what doesn't affect you, how do you feel. And yeah, because the target is making sure you don't have any inflammations during your period, because that's one of the major reasons we have those pain. So we have to focus on that, and which at the end of the day still boils down to where we're coming from, diet, your diet.
yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah, and it's really not about thinking, oh, I can't eat this food forever. It's more just, okay, the doctors are saying take these
Mm,
medications and possibly maybe surgery or,
yeah,
whatever. Let me see what I can
I
do
can
with my,
do.
yeah, let's see, and it's almost like giving yourself that opportunity to learn more about your body on a deeper level so that you can support it from a cellular level, which
Mm,
will be just a long-term gift because we've got so many transitions to make as a woman. We've still got, well, I'm not assuming there's anyone on here that's not in perimenopause or menopause, but just for the purpose of our discussion, we've not reached that stage, and those are stages that we're still to go through. And once you're able to support your body more from a cellular level and understand, okay, this works for me, this doesn't work for me, then you'll be able to move through these transitions in our lives so much more smoother and feel much more confident and at peace with ourselves, and not feel like we have to keep popping pills that aren't addressing why, they're just masking and just like a plaster
yeah,
really. So yeah, it's just giving yourself that opportunity, and it's when you can tell yourself, well, it's not forever. You just can be more aware of certain food groups and obviously restrict them as much as you can,
yeah,
and you're going to feel better. Like the way you feel will surpass any short-term taste. You
exactly.
sleeping better, feeling better, being able to be happier and more confident with your health, with whatever that's going on in your life, totally squashes that temporary, taste of whatever it might be. And also educating yourself with the reality behind the food industry, I found was really helpful.
Mm,
Like when you actually understand that these companies spend millions to get us addicted to food. Like they literally invest in scientists to put chemicals together, particular formulas, just so that we will keep
craving,
eating that food.
wanting it. Yeah,
So once you're aware that, okay, this is how much effort is being put into keeping me buying whatever it is, then it makes you feel, actually, I'm not going to be a slave to this. I'm not going to be, because what are the impacts of these chemicals long term? Nobody's telling us, but what we are hearing is that more and more younger people are getting heart attacks. More and more younger people are having hysterectomies, women. More and more, we're seeing all of this, but we're not talking about the reality of the food industry and what companies are really doing to keep us consuming these foods. So I think if you do that, that will definitely empower you. That would empower you big time.
Definitely, definitely. Any more questions?
Okay. If we don't have any other questions, Sherylicious Love says, okay, great to know that. Thank you. You are
Well,
welcome. Okay, so we did you want to share about your group and how, if anyone wanted to connect with you and find you, where would they find you?
okay. So before we talk about the group, on next Thursday, the 26th at 1 p.m., Nina is going to be on my live where we're going to have open conversations with Cecilia Lero. This is where the guest comes in and tells us their story, their journey, their experiences, and things that you probably wouldn't hear any other day. You probably hear that on that day. So I know it's a work day, but I try to make it convenient for every guest that comes on. So please come support by joining in on Thursday at 1 p.m. where our dear Nina is going to be talking. So
Thank
then
you.
also, I've got a women's support group. We're still growing and, learning along the way. We're on Facebook. We're called Fem Power Hub Women's Support Group. That we're trying to, work with women and young girls going through their periods, teaching them, educating them. At the moment, we've just visited 15 schools in Nigeria and provided them with sanitary pads in their clinics so that, while you're in school, because I experienced that growing up, while you're in school and your period comes on, without you knowing it's coming, you can go into your clinic and get pads because they are not available in most of the schools, which we're so glad we're able to do. So we're hoping to do more. We're educating them, giving them classes, talking to them and letting them know more about their menstrual health. So if you'd love to join our group, we're on Facebook, Fem Power Hub. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. It's an amazing, inspiring group. So thank you for sharing this evening, Alero, and having me on the show, which is Thursday next week, 1
Or this week, rather, because today is
p.m.
Sunday, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. Yeah, Andy has just said, Mama J Vents, hola.
Hola,
Do
hi,
you do,
hola.
hey, okay. Do you do generalized healthy shopping lists? Generalized in the sense, I've got some resources I can send your way that are generalized. Yeah. Do you mean not specific to a wound condition? Is that what you mean, Ola? Just want to double check. And you're saying it is so scary. I went to the shops the other day and was shocked to see candy floss grapes. Yeah,
Plus grapes.
that's crazy.
They make them like grapes.
That's weird. Like who they will come up with anything, anything.
Anything to appease
Yeah,
entice the children.
yeah, it's mad. It's mad. And you know what that is? That's the target kids. Kids.
And then when they start taking that from when they're little, it becomes a habit, isn't it? And they just want that. I mean, it's so hot. I actually made my ice lolly. I was telling Ola the other day, I made my ice lolly. I did the pineapple, watermelon, beetroot, ginger,
Oh,
blended that.
lovely.
Yeah, so I've got my ice lolly. I'm going to have one after we finish now.
Oh, that's such a good idea. I've done that a couple of times, but I just forget to do it. That's so good.
Oh, yeah. So I got the thing and pour it in and chuck in the freezer.
Yeah, such a good idea. Sherylicious Love is saying they're really sweet grapes I used to buy. Yeah, I don't buy grapes because
Hey,
unless I'm with a group,
I love
yeah,
grapes. Well,
I don't.
now
Because
I cut down on it. Nina, all I saying, yes, not specific to anything, but generally healthy. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
You're welcome, Ola.
yeah,
You're genetically modified. Really?
yeah. Apparently they're the candy floss grapes. Is that what you're referring
That's what
to?
he's referring to.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, a lot of things we
I
It's
mean,
phenomenal.
even the, even the grapes now. That's why I stopped buying. I used to love buying grapes, and then just realizing that the seedless grapes are not natural.
Of course, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it, there's a place back in somewhere back there that tells you you know, it's not organic, but you don't listen to it until it actually comes to you and like, I'm telling you, it's not organic. Yeah, so now I don't buy them anymore.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining, ladies. You will see us on the third Sunday of July
July.
again. But we'll see you this Thursday at 1 o'clock
It's
on
at 1 o'clock
to see
on
it
Cecilia on my page. Yeah. I hope
page.
you all turn up. I know you're going to be working, but if you can, please join in.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much we can learn from each other, and just realize that it's an ongoing, lifestyle, and just realizing you're not alone.
Yeah.
And you're an overcomer. The fact that you're here, you're sharing, you're listening
Mm,
means you are going in a whole new direction.
yeah.
And pray you continue to empower yourself and empower others around you, and yeah, keep growing and glowing.
Amen. Amen.
All right. Okay.
Thank
Well,
you,
have a
everyone, for
lovely
joining
evening.
in. Have a
Thanks
lovely
for
evening and
joining.
a beautiful week ahead.
Bye.
Bye.